Coming up in this fully explained video with air traffic control, my Delta flight from LaGuardia flies the TNNIS departure off of runway 13, leading to what just might be the best departure yet out of this wonderful airport. Fly with me and learn the secrets on how this happens. This is it. This is the exact plane I'll be on tomorrow. This Delta 737 is approaching runway 22 at LaGuardia from Palm Beach, where it'll spend the night. Then tomorrow, it'll fly back down to Palm Beach, then back to LaGuardia, then back to Palm Beach with me on board. Let's turn the page to tomorrow. Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited because today I've got a flight out of, that's right, LaGuardia Airport. My flight is going down south to PBI today, and you're joining me on a Delta Boeing 737-800. Sure, I've done this tons of times, but each time is different, and today is going to be one of the best. All right, I dropped off my bag at the Delta Sky Priority area, and now it's time to go through TSA. I'll be right back with you in a moment as I transition from landside to airside after using the pre-check with Clearland. Despite the crowds today, I'll be back really soon. All right, everybody, I am now post TSA in the spot that I normally bring to you right after TSA. But today, things are going to be a little bit different. You'll recall a while ago on my channel, I would often visit the Delta Sky Club right after passing through TSA. Well, today, I'm actually going to visit the Delta Sky Club. No, I am no longer a Diamond Medallion. I don't have that way to get in via my choice benefits. I don't have a credit card to get me into the Sky Club, but I'm going to go into the Sky Club today. Come along with me. There's the Sky Club, but why are there so many people waiting to get in? I thought that removing people like me who used to be a member, that there would be no line at all. Well, there's a delay getting in. I remember this sign from years ago when I had Sky Club access. I remember standing right here. Nothing's changed. After a few minutes, I was finally let in. So how did I actually get access? Well, today I'm traveling with a Sky Club member who has guest passes. I am the guest. All right, I'm in the Sky Club right now, and honestly, it is so crowded in here that I kind of don't want to be here. I thought that they were reducing the amount of people that were coming to the Delta Sky Club, but I can't get a seat. I'm traveling with others also, and it's not that nice. Since I spent a lot of time here in the past when I was a Diamond Medallion, back in the day when it was easy to achieve that status, I'm only focused on one thing, the new outdoor sky deck. Once I lost my Sky Club membership, the deck opened up, and all I want to do is check it out. It's on the eastern end of the Sky Club, and I disappointingly walked by so many people to get there. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you know I'm always focused on outside views, whether I'm in an airport terminal or on a plane. That's what makes me happy. And all of the new LaGuardia has vast outside views. Well, at least here in the Sky Deck, there were some empty seats. This club provides a view of the ramp between the 70s and 80s gates and runway 1331, as well as Flushing Bay. So it says that it's an outdoor deck, but there's a covering on the roof over here. Came here basically for this. All right, it's nice, but I'm really interested in the action that's happening out there. Today, runway 13 is the departure runway, and they're launching aircraft off of 13 with a variety of different climbs. I'm hoping for the Whitestone climb today because I've got my strategic seat selection on the left-hand side of the aircraft, but let's see what happens. This is a nice place for some plane spotting and airport action. It's as high up as you can go in Terminal C, but is it worth the high cost of admission? Should I spend more on a higher level of credit card so I can get access? Should I spend $28,000 on combinations of flights and my Amex card so I can get Delta Diamond status so I can get free access? No. This airport has so many windows all over the place where you can see the planes just for the price of your plane ticket. See this empty seat? I will not be sitting in it. I don't need it. What I do need is some food before my flight since I'll be seated in the main cabin today and there's no meal service. So this is the line for the food here at the Delta Sky Club at LaGuardia. It's quite long. I thought I was actually going to save some time by getting food here, but I don't think so today. I really wasn't expecting this line at all, and I was really disappointed with the food choices. They really lacked everything in terms of presentation and taste. My selection tasted, well, it didn't have much taste at all, which is why I decided that we should leave the Sky Club in favor of trying a restaurant downstairs somewhere. Me and my entourage have actually decided to abandon the Sky Club and go to a restaurant here and eat at LaGuardia Airport instead. It's a little bit more spacious, the food is probably a little bit better quality, and we can enjoy a nice view right down here. I'm at Kalista Tivera, a full-service restaurant and bar at the base of the 80s gates. The food here was definitely superior to the offerings in the Sky Club. Although there was table service and I had to wait for the food to be prepared, it was worth it and the food was delicious. Not only did I enjoy the food, but the atmosphere felt even more exclusive than the Sky Club. The restaurant was empty and there were still views of the airport operation. This was great, and not only did I get to see many airplanes, I got to see my 737 arriving as it made its way to the gate. I love the location of Kalista Tivera, as it was right over the gate from which I'd be leaving from. All right, that was a pretty good lunch at the Greek restaurant over there. There was a lot of space. The food was very, very good. But right now, it's time for boarding. The timing worked out really well as I received a check just a few minutes before boarding time. I can't wait to get out onto the taxiway system. Today's call sign is Delta 2460. Well, I thought this was going to be a abnormal day, meaning on time, but just as they started the boarding process, they halted the boarding process. For me, normal means a delayed flight. Abnormal means on time. Delays are just normal here. Well, as I wait for boarding to start again, a little bit about my seat selection today. I am strategically seated on the left-hand side of the aircraft. We should be taking off on runway 13 with radar vectors to the white intersection. I'm hoping to see LaGuardia Airport and potentially Manhattan on the left-hand side if we turn wide enough. It all depends on who's working New York departure control and what the demand is to the white intersection today. All right, we're getting one step closer to runway 13 here at LaGuardia. Here's the view from my window on the left side of the plane. Great window alignment here on this Boeing 737 today. I'm really, really happy. I'm so happy that there are no scratches on this window. That wasn't the case in my last video. I'm content now. It's a joy to be on a Boeing aircraft with a large window like this. LaGuardia is still using runway 13 today, and while I know that we're going to go to White to get to Florida, I don't know yet the exact climb that we'll use. We can get the Whitestone climb, or we can get the Nathan's departure down to the south. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. We could also get the tennis climb off of runway 13. We'll know in a few minutes once we're airborne.
It's going to be a nice flight. We'll have you there on time, if not early. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Welcome aboard.
That almost sounds like an irregular operation. On time or early? What kind of day is this? Despite the delayed boarding, we should be on time to PBI. We're all set for pushback onto the ramp between the 80s and 90s gates. Pushback onto the ramp occurs after clearance to do so via the ramp controller. I don't have access to those transmissions, but I will have access to FAA communications with our flight deck crew once the engines are started. You'll be able to listen into ground control, local control, and departure control as we leave New York on this beautiful September day. Spoiler alert, this is going to be one of the best departures out of LaGuardia today. I almost always select a seat on the left-hand side of the plane when my initial departure fix is going to be white, with hopes of taking off on runway 13, climbing over Whitestone, New York, turning left over the Bronx, then left to the south. Right side passengers might not get the LaGuardia and Manhattan views. There's only a handful of aircraft out there. Let's contact ground control for taxi clearance to runway 13.
Ground Delta 2460, lane 17, taxi with November.
Delta 2460, runway 13, Alpha Echo, hold short of runway 4.
Alpha Echo, hold short of runway 14, going to runway 13, Delta 2460.
Okay, we're told to taxi to runway 13 via Alpha and Echo, and at Echo, we'll hold short of runway 4. The pilot incorrectly read back the clearance to hold short of runway 4. For some reason, he made the 4 a 14, and the controller did not correct him. We will be crossing runway 4 in taxiway Echo, which is the halfway point of runway 4. This allows the aircraft that are landing on runway 4 and going to terminals B and C to use the taxiways beyond taxiway Echo to clear the runway to the right and eventually get to the terminal. If runway 22 were the landing runway, which is the opposite direction of runway 4, We'd likely hold short of runway 22 on the way to runway 13 on a taxiway north of taxiway Echo, since planes landing on runway 22 going to the B and C terminals would need the latter half of the runway to vacate to the left. It's important to keep arrivals separated from departures. Now, Air Canada Flight 712 has landed and has cleared runway 4. The controller is going to tell the pilot to take Kilo and Alpha to lane 8 to get to the ramp.
Canada 712, Kilo Alpha lane 8. Kilo and Alpha lane 8 for 712.
This puts Air Canada nose to nose with us and Alpha, so the controller will come back to tell us that we should give way to this opposite direction plane at Lima because Lima comes before the entry to lane 8.
So 2460 at Lima, give way to opposite direction, Air Canada.
Lima, give way to Air Canada, Delta 2460.
So once we get to Lima, we need to make sure that the Air Canada plane passes in front of us first. In reality, by the time we get there, the Air Canada plane will already be out of the way, which means that we will not have to slow down or come to a stop. The plane will already be on the ramp for Terminal B. Once we get to Lima, we simply continue on Alpha to Echo. Today we'll have what I like to call the miracle taxi. That means we'll have zero delay at all from ramp to runway. We're still paralleling the C terminal, but I'm going to speed things up for a few seconds to the point where the Air Canada plane becomes visible. Here it is, and as you can see, there was no need for us to slow down or stop as it's already reached the ramp for Terminal B. If the plane was in front of us, we would have stopped. A few weeks ago, two Endeavour Air CRJ-900s collided here in taxiway Alpha, just a few taxiways behind us, because the outbound flight failed to give way to an inbound flight that was using a crossing taxiway, even after the controller advised the pilot to give way. This was during night conditions. Situations like that, of course, are extremely rare. Fortunately, we're going to make it in one piece to runway 13 today. During our taxi today, we're going to see two special paint schemes. The first one is this American Airlines 737, painted in the paint scheme of a bygone era in the history of American Airlines. This is their Astrojet Retrojet. What a great paint job. And now, what a great view of Manhattan. It'll be even better once we're in the air, but for now, we need to continue on taxiway Alpha, which bends around Terminal B. As we make the turn, we can see an aircraft on short final to runway 4. Remember, we're turning to the midpoint of runway 4 so that aircraft can clear the runway as they slow down further down. Clearance to cross runway 4 at Echo will of course come from the controller up here inside the tower once the runway is clear.
2460, cross runway 4 at Echo, Bravo, Bravo, Golf 13.
Cross runway 4 at Echo, Bravo, Bravo Golf to 13 Delta 2460.
This is such a critical moment, and the tower's eyes are on us. My eyes are on the next plane on final approach, and I can clearly see that there's sufficient space for us to get across the runway so that the arriving flight can land. Once we're on the other side, the controller provided us with specific taxiways to go onto to get to runway 13. What a view down the runway. Once clear the runway, it's a right turn to proceed directly to runway 13. We're moving along with great speed, and we'll barely come to a stop once we get to the runway today. There are only two planes ahead of us at this point, so we're now going to get handed off to the tower controller, who is responsible for traffic departing on runway 13 and landing on runway 4.
Delta 2460, monitor.
Tower Delta 2460.
Let's switch over to the tower on 118.7. On the tower frequency, JetBlue 399, an A320 bound for Orlando, painted in a special paint scheme for the Brooklyn Nets, is going to get issued takeoff clearance. That'll be followed by Delta 974, an Atlanta-bound A321 being told to line up and wait. We'll then take off after this flight. The tower will also clear an American Airlines plane to land on runway 4.
JetBlue 399, traffic off on runway 4, runway 13 plus takeoff.
Clear takeoff, 13 JetBlue 399.
Delta 974, LaGuardia Tower, runway 13, line up, test, line, runway 4.
Line away 13 Delta 974. Tower American 1608 ILS 4.
American 1608, LaGuardia Tower, number 3, following me 175 miles ahead. Additional traffic here at Silver Fox and 2 miles. 3 helicopters out of below 1,000. Runway 4, clear to land, traffic will depart and hold runway 13.
Clear to land, word number 3, look for the helicopters, American 1608.
Those helicopters the controller mentioned are south of the airport. We continue to move forward as Delta 974 goes on the runway. And here we get our last glimpse of the skyscrapers of Manhattan while we're still on the ground. Delta 974 will only get takeoff clearance once the next arrival on runway 4 confirms that he can clear the runway. We're now taxiing out onto the runway 13 pier. Few know this, but the beginning of runway 13 is actually on a pier over the water. We'll have a good view of the runway 13 and 22 piers from the air later on. The Brooklyn Nets JetBlue plane is now airborne and is being told to contact departure control.
Delta 399, contact me, departure.
March, good day.
In a moment, an arriving Endeavour plane will be told to clear runway 4 at Papa, which is before the intersection of runway 13. This will allow Delta 974 to be given takeoff clearance with the next arrival 1.5 miles out. This makes the runway ours, and the tower will tell us, Delta 2460, to line up and wait, and he will inform us that traffic will land on runway 4. This will be followed by Brickyard 5661 checking in for landing on runway 4 behind American 1608. He'll also be advised of those helicopters and will get landing clearance.
5475, Papa Bravo, contact ground.
Papa Bravo, contact.
Delta 974, traffic mile 95, runway 4, runway 13, close to takeoff.
So 974, runway 13, clear for takeoff.
Delta 2460, LaGuardia Tower, runway 13, line of way, traffic line, runway 4.
13 line of way, Delta 2460.
Brickyard 5661, ILS 4.
Takeoff 5661, LaGuardia Tower, number 3, following a 7th Street, 6 miles ahead. Additional traffic here is 12 o'clock and about 3 miles. 3 helicopters at below 1,000. Runway 4, clear to land, traffic will depart, hold runway 13.
Runway 4, clear to land, Brickyard 5661.
Runway 13 is ours as we make the right turn to line up with this 7,000-foot-long runway. This is such an exciting moment, and we got here so quickly today. We will not get takeoff clearance until the tower sees that we will not conflict with arrivals, and we're actually going to be spending a little bit longer time in position due to the spacing of arrivals to runway 4. More on that in a moment, but for now, the tower will tell Delta 974 to contact New York Departure Control.
Delta 974, contact New York Departure.
974.
On runway 4 off to our right, Brickyard 4409 has just landed, and the controller is looking at him out the window. He sees that he can clear runway 4 and taxiway Golf before the intersection with our runway and tells him to turn onto Golf and to switch to ground control.
Brickyard 4409, Golf Bravo, contact ground.
Golf Bravo to ground, Brickyard 4409, take care.
So you'd think that we would get clearance for takeoff right now because runway 4 is clear, but the tower is going to let American 1608 land first because it's actually really close to runway 4, and rather than try to squeeze us out, which can be unsafe, the controller is just going to wait for American to touch down. Once American slows down, the controller will have the flight clear the runway and then issue us takeoff clearance. The added time holding in position also gives us more separation with the aircraft that took off ahead of us. In the next transmission cluster, an Endeavour airplane will check in with the tower and will eventually get landing clearance. American 1608 will be told to clear the runway. We'll get takeoff clearance, and ExecJet 581 will line up behind us.
That 4887, LaGuardia Tower, number 2, continue.
Continue, Endeavour 4887.
Back 1608, Golf Bravo, contact ground.
Golf Bravo to ground 1608.
Delta 2460, traffic 4 mile final, runway 4, wind 08088, runway 13, close to takeoff.
13 clear for takeoff, Delta 2460.
ExecJet 581, LaGuardia Tower, runway 13, line up and wing, traffic line 4.
13 line up and wing, ExecJet 581.
Number 4887, traffic at 1 o'clock and about a mile. 3 helicopters at below 1,000. Runway 4, clear to land, traffic will depart, hold runway 13.
Alright, we're looking for the traffic, forward clear to land, Endeavour 4887.
Now, I didn't know it at the time, but I want to let you know so that you're prepared that today we will fly the TNNIS climb, which calls for us to fly straight out, then turn left to 50 degrees to a fix called Jutes near the Saddle Rock area of Great Neck, New York. We can then expect the controller to issue us left-hand turns to get to our departure fix. For the climb, I'll be including both transmissions with departure control as well as LaGuardia Tower since we'll be able to see the airport. I'm excited and really grateful for being issued this climb since we should be at a great altitude for the turn back around to the south. For now, we need to get handed off to departure control.
Delta 2460, contact me at departure today.
Forward departure, Delta 2460.
In a moment, we'll start our left turn to 50 degrees on the TNNIS climb. When we check in with the controller, he'll climb us to 12,000 feet, which is the max allowed altitude allowed in this airspace for flights headed to the south like us. The TNNIS climb avoids the sports arenas to our right and climbs us over Whitestone, New York.
Departure Delta 2460, 1,500 climbing via the TNNIS 6.
Delta 2460, new departure for our contact, climb maintain 12,000.
Climb maintain 12,000, Delta 2460.
As we climb, we turn to the northeast, which is the complete opposite direction that we need to fly in to get to Palm Beach, but this turn is designed to keep us out of Kennedy's airspace, which is off to our right, in a very precise fashion. We need to circle LaGuardia to get back to the south, so while still in the turn, the controller will have us turn even further to the left. Here comes a command to turn to the northwest now.
Delta 2460, turn left heading 340.
Left heading 340, Delta 2460.
Back at LaGuardia Airport, the ExecJet that was taking off behind us is now airborne and is being told to contact New York Departure Control.
Sister 581, contact me at departure, have a good one.
Departure, you to ExecJet 581.
Just like we did, she's going to switch frequencies and check in with Departure Control now.
Departure executive 581, climbing via the TNNIS 6.
Victor 581, your departure radar contact.
She's not the only one behind us taking off. Behind her is Delta 2349, which will get takeoff clearance, followed by another plane being told to line up and wait. While back on our frequency, our controller will continue our turn even further so we can get closer to our departure fix. That's really good for the views that are about to happen.
Delta 2349, traffic small on runway 4, wind 0707, runway 13, close takeoff.
Delta 2349, runway 13, clear for takeoff.
Break 5675, LaGuardia Tower, runway 13, line up away, traffic plunge 4.
Runway 13, line up away, break 5675.
Delta 2460, turn left heading 270.
Left heading 270, Delta 2460.
We're turning left to 270, or west, which is a perfect heading for viewing LaGuardia, and we just heard the tower issue Delta 2349 takeoff clearance on runway 13. In a moment, I'll zoom into LaGuardia, and you'll see Delta 2349 rolling down runway 13, and Brickyard 5675, as instructed by the tower, is lining up on runway 13 on the runway 13 pier. From here, you can see how runways 22 and 13 are both on piers. This is exactly why I'm seated on the left side of the plane. I wanted this airport view, and in a few moments, we'll have a Manhattan view as well. This is so worth the price of a window seat, or should I say an A seat. Before our controller turns us left and hands us off to the next frequency, keep an eye on runway 4. There's a plane landing, and the controller will have that plane, Endeavour 4887, clear the runway before the intersection of runway 13.
Endeavour 4887, Quebec, Golf Bravo, contact ground, if you miss Quebec, that's fine, just Golf Bravo.
Off Bravo, point 7, get down.
Endeavour will clear on Golf, which means that Brickyard 5675 can now get takeoff clearance on runway 13.
Brickyard 5675, traffic 3 mile fund, runway 4, wind 0806, runway 13, flip takeoff.
13, clear for takeoff, Brickyard 5675.
Delta 2460, turn left heading 240, contact departure 120.85.
12085 and left turn heading 240, Delta 2460.
We're leaving this controller's airspace, and we'll now check in with the next one.
Delta 2460, near departure, Roger, not exceed 250 knots for now.
Now, I cannot hear a pilot on this frequency, but I heard the controller who told us not to exceed 250 knots. That's because demand is always high for our departure fix down in New Jersey, and spacing is needed between all the planes headed down there. Now, for the star of this climb. The 240-degree heading is a fantastic heading for a Manhattan view on this side of the airplane. We've been cleared up to 12,000 feet, which is 1,000 feet below JFK arrivals from the west above us, but now we can get cleared up to the highest altitude in the New York TRACON airspace, 17,000 feet.
Delta 2460, climb maintain 17,000.
I'll end ATC communications here. We'll eventually get a turn toward White in Ocean County, New Jersey, and once we leave the airspace of the Terminal Radar Approach Control Facility, we'll get cleared to higher altitudes. Both the TRACON and the center controllers are in Long Island, and they're focused on air traffic separation, but a byproduct of this is providing us some stellar views of Manhattan. Look at this view. No controller looking at their radar screen is purposely planning for us to see this, but I've been studying New York airspace for decades. I know what to look for, and I'm extremely satisfied that I chose my seat on the left side of the plane. It really worked out today. The weather is perfect, and the sun is on the other side of the plane, allowing the buildings of Manhattan to be perfectly illuminated. This has been a fantastic departure today out of LaGuardia. Thank you so much to the New York departure controller down in the TRACON for those radar vectors. The views today were just top notch. Not only was the New York City portion of this flight superb, so was the rest of this flight. We're looking at the Jersey Shore, and out there we can see an American 767 flying from Barcelona to JFK. Here on the Jersey Shore, we can see Deal, Allenhurst, and Asbury Park. Down below is the Monmouth Executive Airport. What a day for flying. I love the Jersey Shore and Atlantic views up here as we reach our cruising altitude. And out there we can see the skyline of Atlantic City and the Atlantic City International Airport. It's just a perfect day for flying, and I'm so happy that the sun is on the other side of the aircraft today. This Cessna Citation down there is flying from Washington Dulles to Atlantic City. We're looking at the southern tip of New Jersey down there, and across Delaware Bay is the state of Delaware. It's a lovely view of Rehoboth and Dewey Beach today. Here, we're flying by Delaware Coastal Airport. This airport boasts VFR weather 93% of the time. Beyond that is a sand and gravel and asphalt company. The water looks pretty inviting from up here. And out there is a JetBlue A320 flying from Orlando to Albany. Down in Maryland, we can see the Salisbury Airport. Below is a place I've never heard of, Wallops Flight Facility. It's a rocket launch site. This is where we are right now. We've seen so much, and there's more to come. We're now looking at the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, which leads to the populated areas of Norfolk and Virginia Beach. Norfolk has a population of 238,000. Here, approaching the Norfolk Airport, is a Republic Airlines flight from JFK. What a great city view from up here, but I can't keep my eyes down there for too long because there's a Delta A321 from Cancun to JFK zooming past my window, and here's an American A320 from Fort Myers to Philadelphia. We're now in North Carolina, and below is New Bern. After flying a little inland for a while, we're now approaching the coastline as the latter portion of the flight will be over the water. Since I won't see any land starting in a few minutes, I'm taking in all the remaining land sites. That's Sneed's Ferry, North Carolina down there. It's now time for the ocean part. We're starting the water portion of the flight right now, so there's not going to be a lot to see in terms of things on the ground, but let me tell you, this flight so far has been phenomenal. Great views today. Being over land doesn't mean that there are no views. That's a Delta A321 flying from Fort Lauderdale to JFK, and those white caps down there indicate that it's likely a windy day for boating. We also made some slight turns to go around some cloud buildups up here. Well, I hope you've been enjoying this video so far. As we continue along, it's time for a quick message from the sponsor of today's video. With all the traveling I do, I find myself just sitting for hours on an airplane, and I need a way to make up for that, so I use my Yesol G1M Plus for a regular cardio workout. A breeze to put together, and at a great price point, this is the best stationary bike I've ever had. With so much time spent sitting, this is a great fit for my lifestyle, and using it doesn't take me away from what I need to do. It's all about fun cardio, as this bike features wired multimedia casting, making a typical cardio workout transformed into something enjoyable. I mean, who doesn't enjoy watching Peter Masella's YouTube channel while working out? I know I certainly watch my channel all the time, even when I'm not working out, because the screen rotates 360 degrees, so I can watch the screen when not sitting on the bike. I love having an additional screen in my home in a place where I normally would not have one. What a great feature! Working out and enjoyment go hand in hand with Yesol. As a traveler, I love this feature, which allows me to feel like I'm biking abroad. And when I want to take things very seriously, I just tune into instructor-led courses. I always leave it to the pros to tell me what to do. I'm an expert as an airline passenger, but I'm not an expert trainer. And statistics are always available to me. These are some fantastic metrics that provide me with the right information at the right time. And I'm not the only one who uses Yesol.
Hey, this is Peter Sr. here. I'm using Yesol on a regular basis, and let me tell you, it's working wonders for me as well.
That's right, my dad loves using this product. After all, he also sits on airplanes a lot and needs the cardio workout. I've caught him using my Yesol bike on multiple occasions. He's especially fond of the 4-speaker system and 2 subwoofers for exceptional sound quality. As a viewer of this channel, you can take advantage of my discount code in the description below. It's exceptionally affordable. Imagine watching Netflix or the news or airplane videos while biking or at any angle. What a deal this is. That's right, you heard it. You can get a great discount with my code. You just gotta do it. It's now time for a special shout out to my Patreon members. Thank you Simon Weber, Luca Presti, Sean Conlon, Dan Narquist, and George for your support. For more info on how to support this channel, visit patreon.com/Peter Masella. Okay, there goes a ship, but it doesn't look like it's moving too fast, but I had to be quick to capture this Virgin Atlantic A330 flying from Orlando to London's Heathrow Airport. Speaking of long flights, here's a Delta A330 flying from Sao Paulo to Atlanta. We're on the Clement to arrival, and we'll be landing soon on runway 28 right. This arrival procedure is for flights from the north. It's mostly off the water, and we really won't get to see much land at all until the final moments of the flight. If I had a seat on the right side of the plane, I'd see the Florida coast as we got closer to Florida, but you know why I'm on this side of the plane. Nothing beats that climb from LaGuardia. Our approach today will be rather simple. Our runway is a few miles away from the shoreline and heads west, so it will be necessary to make a right turn to line up at the runway. But in order to line up via the right-hand turn, we'll have to make a few adjustments based upon the traffic ahead. Yes, we'll turn right, but we'll make some small left turns to head out a little bit over the open water to get behind planes that are already ahead of us on the approach. Then we'll make the right turn to line up at the runway. Landfall will occur over the barrier island of Palm Beach. Then it's over the Lake Worth Lagoon before reaching the mainland, where we'll continue straight on to runway 28 right after getting landing clearance from the tower. Let's do this.
Welcome to West Palm Beach, where the local time is 5:44 p.m. Please stay seated with your seatbelt fastened and carry-on items stowed until the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign. Be careful in opening overhead bins to avoid injury from items that may have shifted during flight, and please retrieve all of your personal belongings before deplaning. As we reach your gate, we invite you to use the Fly Delta app for important baggage and connection information. For customers requesting a wheelchair on arrival, we will advise you upon reaching the gate when assistance is available to disembark aircraft. You may receive an email asking you to share your feedback, revalidate and use your responses to improve your future travel experiences. On behalf of this Boston-based crew, thank you for helping us celebrate 100 years in flight, and we look forward to seeing you soon. We'll be going into gate C1, that's Charlie 1, and if West Palm is your final destination, you can get your bags at baggage claim number 1.
All right, we've made it to the gate here at PBI. It's a beautiful day in Florida. Thank you so much for joining me today from LGA to PBI. This was so much fun, and it's going to happen again. So if you haven't done so already, I invite you to click on the subscribe button below so you don't miss out on my next video. Thank you all for joining me today, and I'll see you again real soon. All right, the engines are being started, the tug is removed, and it's now time to contact ground.
Thank you for paying attention to this important safety message.
Okay, the tug is yours. There's only a handful of aircraft out there today. Let's contact ground control for taxi clearance to runway 13.